Well, ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to tell the story of where we came from and who we were. When I went to university in 1967, there was nothing published, nothing published about Ingonish, or very little. Part of my mission was to become a scholar, become an historian, and to write. That's from the time I was about 10 or 11 or 12. I knew what I wanted to do. It's material for a relatively good documentary.
Good. That'd be great.
And you were able to follow the story the other night?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Yeah, it made sense to me. It was very similar to my mother's,
We did an hour-long interview with Cape Breton Post over the phone, and we did a 15-minute interview live to radio with Ella.
Because the Germans have superior.
I've been interviewing elderly people in Ingonish for about 50 years now, and I've interviewed approximately 225 separate individuals over the last 50 years. And Ella came to this village in 1946 as a war bride. I was born in 1950, so I grew up with her children, and I basically knew her story. So I just am interested in people, and she was one woman who was passionate and willing to speak. And so that's all I needed.
I haven't had a solo show in probably 15 years. Very, very pleased. I didn't know what to expect with this, Haven't been around for a while, It's what I do for a living. It's like anybody. You got a line of work, that's what you do.
I just had a question to ask you. Would you be willing to do a small portrait of Ella? Ella, she had a story to tell. She was passionate. She wanted to tell it. And we captured it.
So, Ken?
Thank you, Ken. And this, of course, is Ken Murray, retired family doctor at Neils Harbor for over 50 years. Everybody was crying Ella Bairn, a Dutch war bride in Amsterdam and Ingonish. Ella is currently in the nursing home in Neils Harbor, and her mind is brilliant. We did a couple of interviews with CBC Radio, 15 minutes from the nursing home, live to air. And we did an hour-long interview with the Cape Breton Post over the telephone, and a full page in the Chronicle Herald. So the media are excited about this story.
The shade side and the light side, and that's important when you're trying to get a likeness. Is you're looking for these shapes and around the eyes and the nose, and where the light line is drawn and the shadow side is. Anyway, this is what I went with.
Her grandson wrote a story about her life school project.
Jordan Nearing.
The Germans occupied Holland for 5 years, and then said the last years were very difficult. Heat was hard to come by, and the witnessed people being shot for trying to steal road tiles for wood. They had 9 o'clock curfew, and their freedoms were limited. German soldiers walked the streets. Jewish people had to wear yellow tar under arms. The elderly couple who had ran the orphanage were taken away by the Germans and never saw or heard from them again.
2008, I started interviewing Ella and learning about her story, getting her to tell the story. And Ella had original letters. She had a brilliant memory and still does. She was born on 12th of December 1923. So this December 2024, she'll be 101. So she's just a clear thinker, a passionate woman who wanted to tell her story.
This was my husband here.
In the anti-tank brigade.
Yeah,
the worst sort of thing.
And
you can go
he's
into.
someplace here. That was his outfit. Here's where I got married. It was not fussy. Here at Amsterdam. And that's where we came from, the steps. In Arnhem. Arnhem?
Yes, yeah, Arnhem.
This is the day that we were fired. Yeah, that,
You don't look
like,
too upset.
the four of us were fired from the hospital. I worked for the post office here.
Yeah.
Here I stayed with this older lady. He working in the kitchen and he filled up with the kitchen stuff that was, and took it to our family who had nothing. Did get caught stealing food from the hospital. They were fired, but fortunately this happened at the end of the war. And then remember May 4th, 1946, very clearly. She was at home when she could hear people hollering outside. When she went out to see what was all about, people told her that the war was to end the next day. German soldiers came into the crowd and started shooting their guns so they had to return to their homes, the people. And on May 5th, 1945, my great-grandmother's birthday, the war ended. Was then my mother's birthday. Yeah. Nan's first memory of the Canadian soldiers coming into Amsterdam was a very happy one. Along with a few of her friends, they gathered flowers to give to the soldiers, although you still had to be careful.
Tell me about your life. What was your home life like? What was it like going to school? What about church? Generally speaking, I would ask people open-ended questions. And if people wanted to talk about certain things, they could. And if they didn't, that's fine too. What did you eat in your household? You never have any shortage of food? All these just very basic questions. And after a while, a story begins to emerge.
How big is small?
Well,
Like this
David's
size?
the filmmaker. Yeah, that size. Yeah, similar. The pandemic intervened, and so we just pressed on and continued.
Then I came back to Amsterdam and I worked first for the post
Why did you leave the post office?
because I had no shoes. I was too poor to buy shoes. And then my feet were getting too sore
Yeah.
because it was steps going up and down and there were stone steps, But everything was different. You had to buy it second hand and, But I got shoes though after that.
A lot of character in that head, man. A lot of wrinkles.
You take the oral evidence and then you combine it with historical material, literature, historical articles, journalists, anything you can get your hands on about a particular area. So that brings it up to a certain higher level. Some people are not as good at expressing things, so I find you just have to be patient. You just listen, and just because you have a little dead air, you don't get excited, you just let people think. Let them respond in their own way, in their own time.
You won't believe how high it is from the ground here. It's really high. I don't want to fall out of this window. I remember back when I was 4 years old. I had a little brother, 2 years younger than me, and he went out in the garden one morning and he found a knife with blood on it. And we found out that it had been used the night before by somebody killed the owner of the grocery store.
What color were her eyes? Do you remember? You were there. I haven't seen her like 30 years. Biggest reason was the light. This is warm. The others are very cool and blue. This is direct sunlight, so it's actually easier. You got a shadow side of the face, and you got a fairly bright sunny side of the face. The shade side and the light side, and that's important when you're trying to get a likeness. These shapes in around the eyes and the nose, and where the light line is drawn. Anyway, this is what I'm working from. Doing a watercolor. I'm going to start this today, and if I'm lucky, I'll come close to finishing it in a couple hours.
Celebrating life in a rural area, getting to know people, being intimate with people, playing cards, being able to tell a story, and being able to talk to people, to being able to communicate. I mean, a lot of people are losing those skills. When the TV came in, Emerson said the talk became good evening and good night. The blue light started to take over. People feel better when they're talking to each other on a very basic and human level. I didn't realize his mom was a war bride. You were at the talk the other night, and then I found out that your mom was a war bride.
That's right. Married my dad, 45, I think. They knew each other for 3 weeks. She came across on the Queen Mary, too. She arrived in New York. Came from down in Swindon. Probably had about 50,000 people during the war. And she moved to a community of probably about 3,000 or 4,000 in Northborough, Massachusetts. Yeah. So she went from a very urban society to a rural society. She also left her mother and 5 siblings too, which she missed a lot. That was so it was kind of culture shock too.
Right. Chris said there were many similarities. Big thing for Ella was the language barrier, right? She had to learn English.
It was very difficult. There was a lady on television, her name was Ann Thierry, and she was on every day, and that's where I picked it up from. I think it was the priest that was learning people some English, so I learned some from him too, but mostly from her though. And then I picked it up myself, and then I was getting my family.
You're looking for all kinds of measurements, I guess, but you try to do it intuitively, and then you check your work. So what I'm doing here, Dave, is I used windows, a light box. I'm trying to get my stuff all placed here.
Ella, could you talk just a little bit about the last year of the war, what it was like?
We were coming out to hospital with everything. We were fired. We had no job. So the first, and that was the first Canadian we seen passing by that day. And the girls and I, we had bought a bunch of flowers. And we said the first one we see, we give the flowers to him. Okay. Sure enough, we met one. We gave him the flowers, and the poor fellow didn't know what to do. we couldn't speak that English, or we were Dutch.
How much of this stuff is, feeling or whatever, And I have to tell you that none of it is, very little. There is to some degree, but I'm more concerned, what I find is that if I see these shapes in the face accurately, I'll capture the essence of the person. You get the shadows, you get the values right. It will look like the person, and that person's character will come through.
If you're a little bit different, it doesn't matter where you are, Dave. You know what's going to happen. People are going to focus in on it. And then the communities were isolated anyway by religion.
I had to turn Catholic. I got lessons there from the priest and the sisters there, was mostly sisters, yeah. And You know, I had a certificate from the priest there. Then I finished my religion after here. I got everything that had to be done. The war was over. Everything else was closed. But this place we went to, that was the first or the second day about the Canadians came in. But they weren't there when we went in this building. And it was building for people, you know. And so, well, gosh, when we went in, everything was so nice. We never seen since years. Everything was sweets and, you know, well, we help ourselves, you know. And that was a place for people, for for soldiers, for us, you know, for everybody. And this 3 or 4 soldiers came in, and I said to my, I always remember that. I seen this fella coming in, that was again, I said to my niece, look at this fella. I said, what a skinny one. He happened to hear me because he came over. He said, I know what you say, Klaas. I said, sorry. He could speak because he had been in Holland a little while.
Right.
And he spoke, so I was. But anyway, we used talk. And so I went home. And a couple of evenings after that, I went with my mother to a theater. And when I came home that evening, she took me home to this younger lady was there. And I seen this fellow walking, and I said, gee, who's that? It was the same soldier. Had got my address was from of my friends, and he looked me up. So from on that I went, I'm married to.
You have to maintain the energy of the painting too. That's kind of weird thing to say, but the flow of the painting, you know, I'm looking for accuracy and shapes and stuff like that. Relationship to the whole head. Okay, that's where the measurement comes in. You know, says what's this compared to the width or compared to the rest of the head. Now from the chin to the where the eyes bisect, so halfway in it. And how wide is this compared to the height of the whole head? It comes to there. And also I look at angles between the corner of the eyes and the corner of the nose. And there. And you also look at vertical axes. Okay, so if I look at this vertically, parallel to this page, and I go like that, the corner of this eye's got to line up with the mouth. Right? So a lot of people have trouble to throw it over too far. If you don't get those measurements correct, it won't look like a person.
See, I had nothing to stay there. I had no job. It's not that I therefore get married, you know, I really liked him. And, you know, there's no life for a young person anymore, you know what I mean? It was no job, and, you know, and this lady said, well, you can stay, blah, blah, but... So but you know, she made a nice dinner for my husband and me when we got married that day. She made a nice dinner for us.
Yeah.
So he left. That was January. I was only with him 3 months. And he left January, and I never came over till June.
When I was at the Markland, I didn't answer the question right. He said, how long did it take you to do that little watercolor there, you know? And that watercolor there is about 45 minutes to an hour, right? And I should have answered him, you know, I got 1 hour and 54 years. Creativity-wise, I thought maybe some of my earlier stuff was better. I didn't have to worry about making money. I just did stuff for myself. And then what happens, you develop your craft to the point where your craft kind of takes over. Craft. Does it mean that the concepts are better? Sometimes. Get the shape right and the dimension of the form of her face falls into place. I'm looking at what I'm going to leave white days.
So with watercolor, you usually start from the lights and work to the darks. Oil, it's sort of the opposite. And I'm not too worried about too many edges on that. You can clean them up later. It's good to have some edges like go right into the background. Anytime there's a really close value, it's kind of good to do that. Yeah, like from here to there, you know, I wouldn't put a hard edge around there and try to soften the edge. So, but that's how I'd start, you know. Yeah, a lot of people wonder, how are you going to make something like that? And the answer is, I'll show you, maybe.
She had, I think, suffered a lot in the war and suffered in English. And I think it comes down to the nature of your personality. Like Ella, her personality, I would say, is strong. You know, she's determined. She doesn't give up.
I came over in the Queen Mary. I think it took about 5-6 days to Queen Mary. Yeah. And then I came to Halifax. Well, I was going to stay in Halifax, but there was a train going to North Sydney. So that's where my sister-in-law was living there with her family, and there's where my husband would be waiting. Yeah. So I had, they put me on the train the same day that I came up from the boat. And I was, I don't know how many hours on the train, but it was long. When I came to North Sydney, was nobody waiting for me. And there was a taxi driver came to me, and just happened that I had the address of my sister-in-law. So I gave that to the taxi driver, and he took me to Lorna Street, that's what it, and there's where he was.
There was a lot of bias by scholars about oral history. It took a long time for that to change. And it was people like anthropologists and sociologists and people in those disciplines, and eventually historians started to come around. They started to realize, hey, we're getting left out here. This is part of the fabric of people's lives. Talking to people, interviewing them is a critical part of trying to understand our lives and the lives of other people.
I remember smoking, and I was pretty sick. I remember going, and then we went over, like I said, and then I had to go stay with my husband's parents, and well, he has sisters too, you know, family. So, like I say, I was miserable coming over. And I went in my husband's the home. And the first ones I met was supposed to be my two sister-in-laws. And one was a little bit, you say hello, that's it, but the next one didn't talk to me at all. And I didn't like it there for a couple of months. I had to stay there because what happened, see, my husband had been married before that, see, and they didn't class me as, so it was a pretty rough time for a few years, yeah. We went in our own house down the Inkenys Beach in October, and I had the baby, Betty.
When you teach, you got to verbalize about what you're doing. I guess that's what people find difficult. It's a visual language. Describe some form in here. So I'm going to bring it up later. You can see me using like fairly large brushes too. And that's what keeps the watercolor fresh and loose.
Get the value right, you'll get the form, okay? And the form means the solidity of the object. Okay, see that value in there, like, and I try to get the color and the value. Value is probably more, that's the darkness and or lightness that the color has. When the head goes around, it's going to get darker on the other side. And it's still fairly warm, you know, meaning more oranges and yellows and browns. There's warm blues too. Warm blues like that have more red in it. Green blues got more green, that's more yellowish. It's intuitive, but I'm also looking fairly closely too. Some artists say, you know,
Old artists don't fade away. It just looms to perspective.
See the head come together, the forms.
1946. And we went in we were supposed to be in our home down in Kings Beach. That was our home. And when I went in there, I couldn't see nothing. I walked back out. I walked back out. I said, I'm not going to stay here. It was so dark, and the house he had bought from his father-in-law, the home. I didn't know all that stuff, but that he felt that man was sitting in the corner, and I didn't even see him because. So I walked out. I said to my husband, "I'm not going to stay here." He said, "Well, but don't try it anyway." So that's what I start living there. But yeah, it was rough. It was getting used to those people. It was, for a person like me, I was only 22.
Like after the Second World War, what happened in all the villages was the same in all the towns and cities. Men came back from the war and their tongues would loosen up among themselves at the Legion or in the tavern. But they found it difficult to talk about the war. And you see it in the story with Alex, waking up during the night screaming. And he wasn't the same after he came back from the war, not at all. And Jim Brewer, same thing. He was not the same person at all. I got that from his wife. He was wounded. He came back on a hospital ship. And so it affected all of the people that were overseas. So it affects everybody. Civilians and soldiers, everybody.
you squint, you see the value of the darks and lights, which, like you say, are pretty important. The value gives you the darkness or lightness of the color, gives you the three-dimensional quality. Color does too. Color helps, but value is probably more important. I'm working on a smaller section in here to try to get some of these darks in her nose. Sometimes too, Dave, I like to bounce around, and this keeps the kind of energy flowing.
She's a war bride, but she's also a mother.
Then I start having children. There's my family there. There's three passed away out of that, but they're still around. I had a little one. She was so sick when she was born, and she passed away when she was 2 months old. That's yeah. But I had 9 children, and then this little boy there, I took him when he was the baby. Yeah, I took him just when he was not even 2 pounds. I was quite busy. I worked three, four different places for people, some from the States, and then I worked 11 months, I think, it for the RCMP. Worked for them, and yeah, that's how because my husband was getting kind of sick. I didn't mind that, the snow, the first time I ever seen snow, because we never, now they have it, but not at that time. But yeah, I found the first years very difficult, and it was difficult for the children too.
When I was painting outdoors, the issue was drying time. So I, like a lot of artists, they'll put down a big wash and that kind of thing. Not me, I'll do it. I'll paint in sections if I have to because of the drying times. It's slower out. It can be fast or slower outside. And you have to work fast too, that's the other thing.
My husband passed away in 19... My God, I don't even remember.
1989.
But I was lucky though. After a few years after that, I became friendly with a person from Inkenis. His name was Cecil. He was a wonderful person. I was with him. I started going out with him for 11 years. Is it 11 and 12 years or something? After that, I'd be on my own.
Especially women. Some women would say, "Oh dear, I have nothing to tell you." The men were always outside, hunting, fishing, to work in the woods. So they were always doing exciting things, we might say, whereas women were in the house looking after children, and women could get down a bit and depressed a bit in the wintertime. And I heard this from Dr. McDonald, I interviewed him. Oftentimes women would come to me in the spring and the women would have the blues and they wouldn't feel like talking about it with other women. And he said, I just learned to keep my big mouth shut, and they'd be in my office for an hour, hour and a half, and he said I hadn't done anything, but at the end of the session or visit, doctor's visit, they'd say, "Oh, thank you, doctor, thank you very much."
My paintings used to be brown on brown. It was sort of Andrew Wyeth era, which was a American painter that was popular at the time. And it was all brown on brown, which was all right. That's when I was heavily influenced by him. But as a kid, I always liked color, so I went back to my original roots, kind of. So when I was soften an edge, sometimes I'll just wet the brush and scrub it out, wipe it out a bit. Okay, let's see where we want to go from here. Okay. Yeah, everybody's, where's the magic, you know? Well, I guess there is kind of some magic, but in my mind, it's not really. I'm just looking at stuff very, very closely.
I got trouble now, you know, when I had this stroke a year ago. I seem to have a good appetite, and I can do most of my own work yet. So that is my life now. You know, I just take it like it comes.
See the shadow here? Going up here, right there. Look how far over that indentation is, so I'm too close. So I gotta correct that.
Definitely that factor of painting for the market. Yeah, I did do that. You do have to work. And like someone says, well, you get a lot of talent. Talent only gets you so far. It's the work that goes into it that is so critical. I know people that had a lot more natural ability than me and did nothing with it because it didn't work. If you have the interest, you're going to put the time in. 24 years old, leave everything in the States and come to Canada to try to make a living as an artist. But that took courage and determination. And like I said, I gave myself a year start making some money at it. I took the place of a woman who was on sabbatical, and they were kind of like promising me a job next year. They'd have a 2-person art department, and it's never materialized. Never was gonna materialize. So they let me go. That's when I came to Canada. Best move I ever made. And I did, you know, 'cause when I taught, I made like $6,000 or $9,000 teaching. First year painting in Canada, I made $6,500. So I said, "Oh, that's close enough."
Did the children have any difficulty growing up in English?
Yeah. They were, you know, they never were, I tell you the truth, they had it a little bit, yeah, rough. But today, they're on the
When you left, I looked at it. I said, "No, you know, look pretty good." But then I went back the next day. I realized that the distance, these were like proportional measurements that I didn't get right initially. I decided to do an oil, and with the oil, you get more leniency because you can push the paint around, scrape it off. And so the original of this painting is. Basically, I started from scratch. I didn't use the drawing like I did with the watercolor. I start with you can see these blue lines, that's acrylic. And I draw it out with acrylic to begin with. And so we're coming down the home stretch, and what I'm going to do is suggest some of her shoulders there. And a little bit of that necklace, because I think that's probably important to her. You know. Anyway, so I'm happier with this.
Well, all I would say, you know, like what I went through, you know, they should be, they should be nicer to people, especially people that comes and, you know, have, like I had nobody, and it was hard. So I would say, you know, to people if, because those people here, the ones, the old Vasika, you know, they don't like anybody, stranger come or something, yeah. But there was an English woman already from First World War, and they had to leave too. But they come back again, but they had it hard. So that's what I mean. Don't be selfish. You know, just let them live. If the, you know, let people live their own life. You know, don't spoil it for them. Like they did that for me. You know, I had to go to the mountains to keep peace. You know, but you know that's what the only thing I would say. You know, and just let people live their own life. Don't interfere with them.
Today what I'm going to do is also compare some proportions here. To do that, Dave, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this measurement here from the chin to the top of the head and compare it to the width of their hair. And it goes over to here a bit. So we're going to see how we did there. It looked pretty good. I don't want to get the background quite as dark as that because we get that sort of doom and gloom. But I'm just indicating the shoulders and some of the clothing the gal was wearing here. So Dave, I'm happy with that, I think. Hopefully she'll like it. So we'll stick my name on it. My beat up door.
Looks fine to me.
It's not. There's a story there.
Is? Ah, beautiful. Holy smokes.
Yeah, we're just finishing up with the name on it.
Well, you did capture her. Oh my goodness. You
I'm
really
glad
did.
you like it.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you.
beautiful.
Thank
It's
you.
beautiful. Like all of your work.
We worked hard on it, didn't we, Dave?
It is beautiful.
Yeah, so it's all signed, ready to go.
As an artist, like pro, you do it to challenge yourself, try to take on more difficult subject matter. Doing the figure is extremely difficult. Probably the most difficult thing to do in paint.
Probably similar to what Chris was explaining, how you learn to hone your skills as you go on.
Gotta let it dry. It's wet.
Oh, it's still wet.
Yeah,
He really captured her, didn't he?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's lovely. I can see how you look like your mom.
Oh, good witty jeans.
We have a little gift. And we have Chris Gorey
hi Ella, how are
to
you?
present you with a gift.
I remember great.
So this is for you.
Oh my God. That's not me. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so the
That's
guys,
that's a lovely.
thank you. I'm glad you like it. We
Yeah.
didn't know if you would or not.
That's really beautiful. And you made it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I should know. Yeah, this is a surprise for me today. Beautiful, eh?
It is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Anyway,
Well,
that's gonna be
almost.
for you, but the paint's still wet, Ella. The paint is still wet,
Yeah?
so I gotta take it home and dry it and varnish it.
Yeah, we have to put up there.
That'll look good right there.
There's a little card, Ella, that goes with the painting.
That's nice. Yeah. Really nice. Please accept this photo as a token of our affection for you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, I hope you like it.
I really do.
Maybe you can show your friends now if you wanted to, and then I'll bring it back. But I think I need to dry it home.
If you bring it back, I should take it again. You bring it back to
I will
me.
bring it back to you. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's yours.
It's yours. It's yours.
Yeah, yeah.
It's time to
That's
get
the
a picture
first
of us
time I
and
ever had to
get it
see a
out.
picture of me. And
That is gorgeous. Who painted it?
Chris. Chris Gorey. Susan, you sit here and
I'll
I'll,
sit there.
I'll,
Isn't
I'll
that
pop out.
beautiful?
Looks like you.
All the boyfriends I got today. That's really beautiful.
It is.
So we have to take it back home again.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
got to dry, Ella.
So
Framed.
you'll
Yep.
take it back to me.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's your portrait.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I
Yeah.
really like it.
I will bring it back. Okay.
Oh, you bet. I'm gonna hound you.
I know you will. I just finished this 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the paint's still wet. I just finished painting.
Oh
it.
yeah, I understand.
You can
Yeah.
smell it, yeah. So,
Yeah.
You're looking good though.
She
Good to
does
see
look
you
great.
again.
Does look great.
Yeah.
you look.
Just hope that I still live a couple of days before.
Well, you better.
Oh,
you,
yeah,
you better. You're going to have to.
gotta want.
I suppose if I don't make it, he sells it. I must hope and praying that I get to Remembrance Day.
Yes.
That's only next week, is it?
Yes.
Remembrance Day?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
I
November
don't
11th,
like
yeah.
to miss that.
yeah, Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, Remembrance Day, that's my day. I'm old, but I thank the Lord I'm still able to walk around. For me, having such wonderful friends. And thank you. If I had some good drinks, I would have treated you.
That would have been fun. We're sorry we made you miss bingo today.
No, I rather get company.
You got 3 guys looking after you.
A lot of women don't even get one today.
Can you still speak Dutch?
Yes, I still write.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I still write letters.
Okay.
Yeah, I finished one yesterday in
Okay.
Dutch. Yeah, I'm lucky, very fortunate because I still can write Dutch and I write English.
Very good.
So I'm busy. I am busy keeping in contact with my family over home.
Yeah.
And a very nice friend in the States. She,
Okay.
yeah, I had a letter from her yesterday.
Are you getting picture clear? Look at her.
I usually don't get any real mail,
Yeah.
but when I got your letter, I was so amazed, and I told David that it was so beautifully written, and it was the handwriting was so steady and clear. It was such a delight to get it. Of that.
I think you're right, Claire. When you were, as you age, if your spirit is still the same, you know, your spirit as a young person shines through.
Okay, this is from Berlin, fennel tea.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, as you said, chocolate. You can never have too much chocolate. You gotta have chocolate. And then this, color-wise.
So are they earrings?
They're
or what?
earrings.
Okay.
And there's a little dragonfly on each one.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Because there is almost nothing more important than oral history and capturing the true stories of humans in their world and the way they live, what they care about, what they believe in, and how they feel. And someone who's 101 years old, who has the clarity and the poise and the wonderful character and nature of Ella. So it's not just something that some person you read about or you hear about or you see a film about. To actually meet her and to see the congruous character of it was really a wonderful experience. I appreciate it and I thank you for that. No,
What a thrill getting a letter, right? A letter from
a real letter.
a letter
Yeah.
from 100-year-old.
Some good friends are since I came.
Yeah.
We lost them.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. And then we get new ones,
Yeah.
I like to say is thank you fellas very, very much for all you have done for me. Thanks a million.
You're welcome.
And I hope to see you back again.
We will be.
We will be, yeah.
Yeah. And you better be all good.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget to
Hey,
don't forget my picture.
no.
Don't forget to give my picture back.
You will. Yes.
I like it here, and I have a lot of friends here. I'm just lucky. No, I got no regrets, they call it. This one is Fran, this is Shirley, this is Sandra, they're still living. This is Betty, passed away, and young Alec, we call him, he passed away. And Patricia behind me, she passed away. And Cheryl, right in the end, he lives in Sydney, he's married, and that is Sandy, she lives in the Waterford, she's married. You got them all? When you come in, came to visit me.
I really have. I tried to become a good listener. It's quite an experience to interview an elderly person, go back to their youth. They think I'm just an ordinary person and people don't care. People do care.
Here I walked by myself, and the photographer stopped me and took my picture. I really have no complaint. Just fight for yourself.